Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Dutch trumpet sensation Eric Vloeimans. We talked at length about his new 2022 project with American accordion master Will Holshouser, a live album called Two for the Road, and he also talked about a recent 12-city U.S.-Canada tour from September 11th to October 2nd, 2022. Over the years, he's led a wide variety of ensembles and is a frequent guest soloist with bands and orchestras of all kinds. This is a great cat. Enjoy this interview.
Eric, it's great to meet you, man. Thanks for taking a minute out today.
Yes, thank you very much to have me on your show, Joe.
My pleasure, man. So let me talk a little bit about where exactly are you located right now?
I'm located in Doesburg, and this is in the Netherlands, and this is like near the city of Arnhem. It's in the east of the Netherlands, and I moved here since 2 years. In the lockdown, I moved, and I lived for 38 years in Rotterdam. I studied there on the conservatory on Codarts, and I lived there for for 38 years. The east of the country is a little bit more quiet, and there's more nature, more lush. It's So I thought, well, I feel like going there.
Yeah.
Instead of the busy west, and it's only like it's a small country. Yeah, this is I am like 1.5 hours now from Rotterdam, which is for Americans it's nothing. This is just nothing. But here it looks always big, and people say when I play in the west of the country, you say, "Oh, you have to go all the way now to where you live," right? It feels. It's very funny how it works. Those things.
Perception's very strange. And I guess that's my lead in here. Before we get into your brand new album, I'm curious, How did you survive COVID as a jazz artist? And how has this time changed you now that you got a new album, live shows are picking up, things are kind of changing?
Well, Joe, I thought, well, I was suddenly unemployed. I think, well, I'm not unemployed, they take away my job. That's it. I have plenty of work. But I thought, what am I going to do right now? What does make sense in my life? Then I thought, wow, most of the times I have to, as a musician, you write for your new albums, or you write for a movie, or you write for a new show with a new band, and there's always like a little bit a push on it. There's always like a last minute things, and suddenly there was nothing anymore, and I didn't have to play trumpets. So a few months before the COVID, I said to my wife, I said, I would like to, it feels like I could play like not trumpet for 3 months just to see how life is right then. And then, then the COVID happened, so I put my trumpet away for 6 months. I didn't want to play anymore for just experience life from another way. And then I thought, I'm going to. I feel like writing. I feel like writing very much. I feel like writing like out of a sort of a freedom. And let's say, I don't know for whom I write this melody, but I write this piece because I would like to write this piece. So everything that comes in, I want to write this down, and then I create my own library with music. And when this whole COVID period is over, I can play with everybody I want, my music, and I choose the melodies which fits to one of the other bands. I did also a meditation course in the COVID with maybe you know him. He's American. His name is Joe Dispenza, and he named the word intermission in his meditations. Intermission. I thought, wow, this is quite a good word, because this is exactly what I'm doing right now, intermission. And I thought, I write plenty of pieces, so I gave them numbers. I wrote intermission number 1, intermission number 2, intermission number 3, and up until 35 or so. And what I also did is I had an assignment for writing for a movie which was called Wild Port of Europe, which was about the animals in the harbor of Rotterdam. Rotterdam is the biggest harbor in Europe. You will be astonished how much nature there is in between all the industrial objects and things. So I did the whole process with that, and I moved. That's how I chose it. So yeah, I moved to a part of a country where the people are a little bit more quiet. It's not that hectic or something, but it feels good for my life, because my life is anyway. I feel like the eye in the hurricane. It's always like busy, busy, busy. But now I'm coming home in my own farm. It's quiet here, and it's really quiet in the night, not like in the city. But yeah, well, so the COVID period was actually I made the best out of it for myself, and it was a valuable period for me.
The one thing about your brand new album, it's a live album, 2 for the road, and it looks like you had a U.S. trip and you got close to Kansas City. You were in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
How was it had to be exhilarating after all of that time away from live shows to not only have an album that's a live album, but to actually be able to perform it live.
Yeah, well, it's a live performed album from I did with Will the year before. Just we were so lucky, Joe. We were like in between 2 lockdowns. We had our shows, and when the last show was finalized, then the lockdown went on again. So we were so lucky. We did 30 shows in between 2 lockdowns, and we recorded like a few shows, and we made the album of it. And it was very much a pleasure being after such a long time being on tour again. That was actually the first time in the U.S. that I was there for a couple of years. Yeah, we know all. Because of because of the COVID, of course, we couldn't play, couldn't travel, nothing at all. But it was such a pleasure. It was such an energetic tour in your country. Yeah, we weren't in Kansas City, but we would like to come next time.
Yeah, we have open arms. We would love to have you here. I'm curious. I'm always curious about, jazz is the ultimate American export, and other regions of the world latch onto it. How did you begin your journey in jazz in the Netherlands?
I started with my first teacher at music school. He had some lessons in arranging and in jazz and in chord studies, and he started to experiment a little bit with me. But I went as a classical trumpeter. I went to the conservatory, and then I saw we had a very nice jazz department on the Conservatory of Rotterdam. Very nice, with very nice musicians as teachers. And so I was there as a classical trumpet player, but I did improvise. I did improvise already, so it was not strange at all for me. I'm sorry. And then I saw the ensembles and the big band, and so I went to the teacher who was Kees Small, and he was a very good trombone player and trumpet player and piano player and saxophone player. He was really a multi-instrumentalist. And I went to him and. I went to a lesson of him and then he said, "Why don't you study this? Because you are good at it." And then I started playing. Then I started playing jazz, thinking about it seriously. And a year later, I quit my classical studies because it was impossible to combine it. But I must say, my heart is also still towards the classical music. And you can maybe hear the album with Will. It was once criticized by someone. It was very funny. Criticized by a journalist. He said, "Well, this is not jazz. This is not jazz." But I think, I didn't tell it was jazz. It's just music, and I improvise. So I do not consider myself really like as a. Your country, they play like really jazz, like Wynton Marsalis, but I try to have some other influences as well, like from the classical music. And last night I played with the Marine Band of the Navy, and I played my pieces. And my pieces are also, I think, about world music, but it's also about blues, and it's also about jazz. But I even don't know really how to call it. Is there any word? When you listen to the album with Will, do you think it's pure jazz, or what do you think about that?
I think so. Yeah, I get that sense out of it. I do think it's pure, and it just emits a warmth, and I really enjoy it.
It's a mix, huh?
Yeah,
Things, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's how I feel it. Yeah, that's how I feel it as well. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the cornerstone of jazz, is that it's this feeling, and it's hard to put your finger on, but it just makes you feel good.
Yeah.
It feels right.
But of course I learned, amen. I learned so much from your country about the trumpet players like Woody Shaw, Freddie Herbert, Booker Little, Miles Davis, of course. Maybe I like him very much because he did everything what he thought he should do without the borders of jazz, and that's what I like very much. I learned so much from people from your country.
What do you like the best about being a professional musician, about doing this every day?
Okay. Well, in the first place, I cannot imagine doing something else. I don't know. It grew into all my DNA. I don't think so much about it. I think if you choose for something and you don't think about it, and you're not going to your job. I never go to my work, actually. I realize. That's not because I don't work, because I work very hard. But I don't have the feeling I go to my work. You go to your work, you go, and you don't feel like going to your work. Going to your work has for me something negative, maybe. I just do something what I like, and I work very hard to be able to live from it. But I get so much energy from it. There is so much synergy between the musicians, and musicians are very nice people to work with. They think maybe a little bit wider than.
And I kind of want to go back to the album, the new live album, Two for the Road. And I'm curious, what are you hoping the listener gets out of this album?
Well, I always say to the people, dear people, I'm a musician and I play, music is the language of the heart. And as I always like, I play with my heart for your heart. And I hope that by the end of the concert you are as happy as I am right now already, or maybe more happy. So, yeah, that's what I hope for the listeners. That they get happy from it, that it does something with you, that it does something with your energy, that.
What is your future looking like now with the new album? You just got off, live shows. What are you looking for as we kind of close this year out and move into 2023?
Well, my new album, I think I heard, just before the show, I heard one song, which is the single, which is called Hop. Next week, I'm going to, my newer album is going to be released tomorrow, and this is called The Wild Port of Europe. This is about the harbor of Rotterdam, where I wrote the film score, I wrote the music score, and I'm going to have 23 concerts going out of the year, going into the year, and for the rest I'm going to do some new concerts with my new band, new jazz rock band, Eric Vloeimans Hotspot. It's a new band. I'm going to work with that, and some concerts in between. This weekend I played with Fujimuni, which is the group with Harman Fay and Anton Goudsmit, and I played with that group. I played with that group for 10 years ago. I played, and now there's the reunion of that band. All kinds of. Not particularly with one band, but I do a lot of stuff in between. Let's say a lot of stuff in between with a lot of bands, a lot of things mixed up.
Absolutely, that's great. So let me ask you this: everyone out there has an idea of who they think you are. Your family, your friends, your fans, but you're the one that's living your life. Who do you think you are?
Do I have to describe myself?
Well,
who do you think you are? Oh man, that's one of the most difficult questions. I don't know. I just try to be. I only say I try to be Eric Vloeimans. I try to be myself. me and I'm a trumpet player, and I love life. And when somebody says to me, it's not right, I try to listen to that person, try to make my life better, try to be maybe a better human being, or it's so difficult.
You know what you've done during this interview, which is really it's amazing. Sometimes I get like a portal into the music through the conversation, which is what I hope to convey to the audience. Your answer to that and other questions that I had is it gets right to the point, and you kind of simplify it in a complex way, which is kind of the nature of your music. So I think your answers mimic what you do on stage and in the studio. So I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
So I saved the most difficult one for last. Thank you for opening up, taking some time out. I'm so glad that we got to catch up, and truly good luck with everything. And hopefully when you get to Kansas City, let me know. We'll sit down for a proper plate of barbecue and shake hands.
Yes. Okay, Joe. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in the Netherlands, Canada, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to Eric for his time, cool, and class. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com. And for everything Neon Jazz, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.